Welcome to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
So you've brought us some interesting material today. It's about a challenge that seems to trip up professionals pretty often.
That's right. It's about how our own pride, our ego, can really derail important conversations, especially negotiations.
Okay, and we're looking at insights from a source called setasideyourpride.mp4.
Exactly. Excerpts from that.
Our mission then, I guess, is to unpack what this source is saying, really get into that tension between ego and, well, what we actually want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Ego versus goals.
So let's just jump right in. The source asks this really relatable question. Why do people look back on negotiations and, regret letting pride run the show? Why is that so common?
It's a great question. And the source, it really tries to pinpoint the mechanism.
Okay.
It suggests that the second things get tense in a negotiation, pride just flares up almost instantly. And its message is really simple, almost primal: don't give in.
Right. Like a defense mechanism?
Yeah, exactly. It shifts the whole thing. It's not about solving a problem together anymore. Suddenly it's a personal test.
Right.
Maybe even a fight where you feel you just cannot lose face.
Okay, so it's about protecting yourself or maybe your image in that specific heated moment.
Yes.
But that protection might actually sabotage the bigger picture, right? Your ego wants to feel, I don't know, strong or right now.
Right now, that's the key.
Instead of focusing on the actual objective you walked in with.
Precisely. And that's where the source draws a really powerful contrast. It sets up this ego-driven reaction against the real point of negotiating.
Which is?
Well, the source argues negotiation isn't really about winning some battle against the other person. Fundamentally, it says it's about building a bridge.
Building a bridge. Huh. I like that framing. It completely shifts it, doesn't it?
It does.
Moves it away from just opposition towards connection,
Right.
finding a way across some divide together.
Exactly. It implies there's a shared interest somewhere in getting to the other side, not just conquering the person over there. Right. And the source is pretty clear that the stakes, if you get this wrong, if you let ego take over instead of building that bridge, are incredibly high.
How high?
It uses this pretty stark phrase. It warns that letting your ego dominate means risking everything.
Risking everything. Wow, okay, that sounds quite dramatic.
It does, but when you think about it.
Yeah. What does that really mean? It can't just be about losing the deal right in front of you, can it? What else is on the line?
Well, think about it. If pride makes you dig in your heels, get defensive, maybe stop listening. You risk wrecking long-term relationships. You risk your reputation, being seen as difficult instead of collaborative.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, ultimately you risk walking away with nothing when maybe, just maybe, there was a good outcome possible for everyone.
So you're essentially trading like a temporary feeling of being right for potentially huge future benefits or partnerships.
That's the everything that's potentially at risk. That's how the source frames it.
Okay, wow. So if tension triggers pride, and pride says don't give in,
Yeah.
but the actual goal is this bridge building, and you risk everything if you mess it up. How does the source say we should handle that moment, that choice point?
It boils down to one simple but really hard question to ask yourself right there in the heat of it.
Which is?
Is it my goal or my ego speaking?
That's the check, the internal check.
Yeah.
Am I pushing this point because it actually serves my objective? Or is it just because my pride feels, bruised and wants to hit back? Or just stand firm for the sake of standing firm?
Exactly. It forces that pause, that moment of identifying the real driver behind what you're about to say or do.
So what's the guidance after you ask the question?
It follows up directly. Keep your eyes on the goal, not on your pride.
Eyes on the goal.
Consciously shift your focus. Look outward at the outcome you want from the negotiation instead of getting stuck inside your head needing to protect your ego.
That sounds like it takes real self-awareness, though, just to catch yourself in that moment.
Oh, definitely.
Because the gut reaction might be pure ego, right? The skill is noticing it and consciously choosing the goal instead.
That's exactly. It feels counterintuitive sometimes because pride feels, strong. But it often leads to weaker results. Focusing on the goal takes discipline. Sometimes you might even feel vulnerable, but that's the path to actually building that bridge.
Okay, so for you listening right now, maybe take a second. Think about a negotiation or even just a difficult conversation you've had recently, or maybe one is coming up. How might asking yourself that question, is it my goal or my ego speaking? How might that actually change your approach? What might you do differently if you really focused consciously only on the goal.
And maybe think beyond just formal negotiations, too. This tension, ego versus objective, it pops up everywhere, doesn't it?
Daily interactions, yeah.
Yeah.
Disagreements at work.
Even personal stuff. How often do we risk everything? Maybe trust or connection or just simple understanding because our pride gets in the driver's seat. So here's a final thought to mull over. What specific situation comes to your mind right now where just being able to tell the difference, the voice of your goal versus the voice of your ego, could potentially change the entire outcome?